y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife, find ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a faith journal process video for you. I am working in the 100 Days of Prayer devotional journal from Shauna Noel. I am very behind in it, but the truth is I just want to encourage you, if you are feeling behind in a project, don't be afraid to pick it back up. I happen to really enjoy these devotional journals a lot, and so I decided it doesn't matter if I'm on day 11 or day 94. Whenever I have the time or whenever God puts it on my heart, that's the right time to work on that project. Today I'm going to be using some new printables from Kelly Bangs, and I'm super sorry I don't have the full pages because you guys, I couldn't not use these papers. So this is her God of All Seasons. This is the last edition. This is a summer series. I already did a spread in my faith planner using this. Let me just show you that spread. Look at how adorable with the waves and the lifeguard. I did this ocean kind of themed for when we are traveling, and I couldn't not use these papers. So I already used several of them, which is okay. But be sure to click on over and check out the full set because this is just adorable. It's the perfect ending to her series of all of the seasons. And then some gorgeous papers, which I've already used because, you know, I like to use all the things. So gorgeous papers. Make sure to check them out. You're going to look at, it feels like waffles to me. I love, love, love that. Okay. So I'm going to be doing a page in my faith journal here. This should be pretty quick. I'm just going to do a few simple supplies. I'll list everything down below with links if you want to check any of those things out. Otherwise, let's go. Okay, I loved the devotional for day 12. It was all about asking questions and being courageous in our faith and asking questions in faith, and about how Jesus didn't stick with the status quo. Jesus asked questions and challenged some principles that had been long withstanding within the Jewish community. And I just love that thought because I had a pastor once that said, if you are not wrestling and asking questions, then your faith is probably not growing. And I really took that to heart because I think sometimes we're encouraged to just accept things as they are just because we were raised a certain way or told a certain thing. And I really think that God can handle all of our questions, and He wants our questions. He wants us to open up to Him and ask Him, and that's how our relationship with Him deepens. And so I loved this devotional, and I really, really liked the 1 John reference that was in here. 1 John 4:1, and it said, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God." And I think that's just a wonderful lesson for us to take away. So that is what I'm focusing on, and I'm using these papers. I trimmed them down and created two kind of triangles, kind of quadrilaterals, getting fancy with my words here, and I'm going to use them to create a pocket because I want to be courageous in my faith. I want to ask the hard questions, and so I do have some journaling, and so I thought I'll do some tags. I'll put the questions on the tags and kind of leave them on God's throne right here and lay them at His feet. And it's, you know, it's okay to ask the questions. We don't always get answers, and we don't always get answers we want to hear, and God's timing is going to be perfect, but He's not afraid of our questions. He can handle it, and so it's always okay to go ahead and ask those questions. So I have my little pockets. I did that cross section so that I would get to use a couple different papers, and now I'm using a set of nested dies from scrapbook.com. This is probably my favorite metal die set. So I have a deep sea die cutter. That's the Jane Davenport metal die. And what you do is you put the paper down, put the die down, and then run it through this machine. Once you crank it through the machine, it cuts out that shape for you. And so if you're looking for a die cutting machine, this one works really great. You do have to crank it yourself, but you then just kind of over time collect some different metal dies, and you can cut all kinds of shapes out of all kinds of different materials and papers and things like that. I love this nested die set. Is, like I said, it's my favorite. So if you haven't picked it up from scrapbook.com, it's definitely one to pick up. Sometimes I use my die cutting machine like this. Sometimes I use a Cricut or a Silhouette. In this case, it was just easier because I already had these metal dies. They were the perfect size. This just made it easier than running it through my Cricut. So it just depends on what project I'm doing and what I decide is the easiest at the time and the fastest, because you guys know me, I like to be fast in my crafting. So I cut out 5 different papers. I'm pulling this paper out just so I can see the page a little bit easier. That's a huge pro of putting it on discs. So I have a video about how I set this up, and I put this book together with discs, and I really like it a lot. So I'm just adding a little hole punch. There was also a die that would have added the hole for me, but again, I just thought it'd be easier to just punch it myself. And now I have all my little tags ready to go, and I'm going to take my attention to kind of the rest of the spread. So now I'm just taking a look at that set from Kelly Bangs, some of the images I have left, and what actually really popped out to me were all of the citrus elements and the lemonade, and so that's what I'm going to focus on. Yes, I cut out a tree first. That's okay. I'm going to do a tree and a picnic table. I kind of just envisioned sitting at this picnic table, and just what if you could sit face to face with God? That would be amazing. It's hard to even imagine that. And if you could just ask the questions, if you could be courageous and God was there to answer your questions, then you can ask him. And God is there to answer questions. And sometimes he only gives us as much information as we can handle. That's how I've always kind of looked at when I don't feel like I know the full picture. I'm sure it's because God knows I can't handle that full picture quite yet. So I'm just adding some of these elements around the page, and just to bring that summery feel, adding the lemonade and the lemons and the limes and all of the fun elements. And I also think that they coordinate really nicely with some of the artwork that was already on the page. I printed all these elements on clear sticker paper. I actually recently switched sticker paper. So I used to always use the Avery clear sticker paper, and it gets expensive. And so I actually switched to this Mako brand. I will link it below. And I love it because it's way affordable. You get like 1,000,000 sheets or 100, something like that, all in one package. And you can actually write on top of this sticker paper. So the Avery sticker paper was too slick to write on. Things would just smear right off. And I can write on top of this. And for that reason, I absolutely love it because I use clear sticker paper a ton in all kinds of journaling. And I like when I'm able to write over the top of it, just in case I have sentences that I need to write or words or anything like that. So I'm all finished adding just a few elements here, and then I'm going to take my attention to the pocket, and I'm going to add a title on the pocket. And the title I'm going to add is "Have Enough Faith to Ask Hard Questions." And to me, that kind of goes both ways. You want to have enough faith in God that you can ask hard questions because your relationship can handle it. And then I want to have enough faith to where others can ask me hard questions, to where I can answer questions, or that I have enough faith to answer I don't know, and that's okay. So it kind of goes both ways for me, that question, like questions you can ask and then questions people ask you, because if you're a person of faith, then you're definitely getting asked questions at different times, and you want to be able to be authentic and honest in your answers. And sometimes you have answers and sometimes you don't, and it's okay to be honest and say I don't have the answer to that, and I'm okay with that. Okay, I used a few alphas from my stash to add in that title, and then I'm going to add just some sketchy boxes around those tile alphas to set them off a little bit. And because I ended up loving those sketchy boxes so much, I decided that I wanted to add some darker accent to the tags. I do plan on writing on the back of those tags, so I'm going to pull them out, but I thought they look really pretty just all grouped like that, but I think they would also look pretty with some extra accent. So I pulled out some distressed oxide and hickory smoke, and I will distress the edges of those tags just to give it a little darker shadow look. And once I do that, I decide I really liked those sketchy boxes, so I'm actually going to add a little sketchy box outline detail, if that makes sense. Sketchy box outline detail to the edges of this tag or these tags as well. Let me just speed this part up right here because you guys don't need to watch me do this over and over. But adding this in, and then I'll just pull out that same gel pen and add some lined detail around the edges of those tags just for a little extra interest. And I'm purposefully not worried about the lines being too straight. I do pull out a ruler for that longer line. I just had zero confidence that I would get even close to straight. But the other ones, I'm purposefully just kind of making it look a little bit messy. And I think if you're messy on purpose, then it makes sense. If you're messy on accident, you feel bad. So why not just pretend and do it on purpose? Last but not least, I will add some journaling lines in here and then do a little bit of journaling off camera and add it into my pocket. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I will link all of the supplies I use down below, so check that out if you're interested. A huge shout out to my YouTube Scrappy members. Thank you all so much for your support. If you are looking to learn how you can support this channel, how you can get some extra perks for the channel, then click that join button or check the link in the description box to find out more. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.